Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. My name's David and this is my channel. Today's video, the meaningless world. Kind of a interesting concept. What do I mean by the meaningless world? Well, what will save us quicker than anything else from everything is to understand that this moment right now is neutral. It has no meaning at all. This world has zero meaning. This is one of the bigger things in the workbook area of the Course in Miracles that he tries to get across right off the bat, is that everything you're looking at, you're giving it all its meaning. It has no meaning. So if it has no meaning, then the form itself is meaningless. And this is the same thing with everyone you know, everything you think you know, all things. And I recommend going into this meditation at least once a day, this just letting go of all meaning as much as you can and recognize that everything that you believe about anything in this world, including yourself, including your body, you made up. Somewhere, somehow, it is your meaning, your specific meaning that you have put there. Now, you might have acquired that meaning from other people in the past, perhaps. We have a human consciousness that's going on, and we tend to take meaning and belief systems from that. So you could have received it from there. But either way, it was somehow your choice, each one of us. And that meaning that we have given everything has come from us, nowhere else. And that meaning that we give it determines our vibration. Does that make sense? So because of that, this is indeed the meaningless world. Now, if we could take the other side of that equation and say, God, source, all that is certainly not meaningless. It has meaning. And the law of creation says that we are one with our creations. So each one of us is one with our creative world. Everything that you experience and you see, everything that, all the physical form in your life, you are one with. Somehow, some way, we are all one with that. The law of creation says it is. And now we're looking at source, God, all that is certainly not meaningless. So therefore, all of it must have one meaning to it. This is where it gets a little confusing, perhaps. Since God did not create a meaningless world, this is where we go back into Genesis, right? God created this and it was good, and God created this and it was good, and God created this and it was good. So the meaning is here, but it's only one meaning. And this is our salvation. This is the most important thing. It's one meaning from the eyes of God, from the eyes of your Holy Spirit, the wholeness. Now you kind of get the idea. Holy Spirit, wholeness, meaning one meaning. Wholeness is one meaning. That meaning is perfect love. Everything is designed and created from perfect love. Perfect oneness, everything as itself. So it has to be perfect love, perfect appreciation, perfect joy. So that pure positive energy of goodness, Yeshua talks about it in the way of mastery as the good, the holy, and the beautiful. Now that's a good way of looking at everything. That's the meaning that God gave this world and gave all of creation everywhere present, all that is, including yourself. Is the good, holy, whole, connected as one, and everything is beautiful. So now we have this one meaning that is on everything as you just look around right now, no matter what it is, and you say, that is good, holy, and beautiful. And then the mind says, well, you see? And it says, not really. That's not too good. Or that's not too connected. Or I don't believe that is beautiful. Now those are what we call beliefs. They're not true. These are the belief system that we have picked up, or that you particularly have picked up, that we talked about before. And therefore now, for whatever reason, you're giving that world out there a separate meaning for every single thing. This is good, this is not, this is beautiful, but this one's not too beautiful, this is ugly. And now we create what we call opposites. Does this make sense? So that means that part of you is giving meaning to a neutral world, because it must come through you. So a neutral world, you're giving meaning that is of negative nature. Negative meaning it is missing. And what is it missing? It's missing the meaning that your holy self is giving as well. So now this world, which is neutral, is being given two meanings. One of them from the holy self, from your inner being, from your broader perspective, which is always good, holy, connected, and beautiful. Everything is one, no differences. It gives everything that meaning. But now there's another part of you, we would call it the ego part of you, that has given it another meaning, you see? And we would call that a negative meaning, meaning if it's ugly, then there has to be a reason it's ugly. There's a belief attached to it. Otherwise, it would be beautiful. Why is it ugly? If it's not good, there has to be a belief attached to it. Well, it's not good because of this and this and this, and now there's a past association with it. But that comes from you. The holy self inside of you only sees it now. Doesn't see the past, ever. Never looks at the past on anything. That's the idea of Jesus saying you're being baptized, right? Everything being gone, taken away. It never was. He calls it the undoing in the Course in Miracles. It never was. By the Holy Spirit, the wholeness. So as you look at anything in your life, and you really study this, and you say anything is not good or connected or beautiful, regardless if it's a person, place, or thing, you will have to have a reason why you believe it so. Now that reason will be your belief from the past. It will come from the past if you look close enough. Now, if you look close enough, you'll see that that belief, whatever reason you have, says it's missing something. And the more you recognize, that's why negative means negate, it's missing something. What is it missing? It's missing its wholeness. If it's ugly, it's missing its beauty. Do you see? For whatever reason, you have decided it's not beautiful. If it's not good and it's bad, then it's missing its goodness. For whatever reason, that person's not good. They did something bad. You see, they're missing their goodness. And if it's not beautiful and it's ugly, then it's missing something to you that says it's not beautiful. Does that make sense? So it's negate, it's missing. Now, the reason this is important is because all resistance comes from this insistence that it is indeed missing in a permanent way. Now, that Holy Spirit part of you that is also giving meaning to every single thing in your life doesn't see it missing. So now you guys have two different perspectives. You have a perspective, we will call it the ego perspective. It's a separate perspective. It says, this person's this person's this person's this thing is this thing is this. You see, can you see all the separation? Everything. Now the separation, what I want to convince you, it's not a physical separation. Everything is physically seeming to be separate. It's the meaning that you give it, which is separate. And as you give it a separate meaning, then that Holy Spirit part of you, that holy self, wholeness, inner being, higher perspective, is not agreeing with you simply because that perspective that you are giving or that meaning you are giving to your life that says you are missing something, that holy self says you're not. You're not missing anything. So now you're giving two different meanings to everything in your life. That's called a split mind, okay? The mind is split. Since you, each one of us, creators, our journey here is to give meaning to that which is already here, so to speak, to God's creation. We give it all its meaning. Now, we have learned that if you give it the meaning of the Holy Spirit, If you give it the meaning that God gave it, good, holy, and beautiful, it's going to be wonderful. And it's going to become one synchronicity simply because you're giving every single thing one particular meaning. Does that make sense? Now, that can sound weird, but I will say from experience, when you give many different things in your life the same meaning, good, holy, and beautiful, or you make it all beautiful no matter what it is, or all good no matter what it is through forgiveness, then it will specifically start coming back in a synchronicity, and it'll blow you away. That's the essence of how this is supposed to work, is you give it all beautiful and it has its own beauty, and you feel all this beauty coming from everywhere. And you give it all good and you feel all this good coming from everywhere. And then you become one with it so much in such an intimate way, that goodness, that beauty, that the world starts speaking to you and you become one with the presence of that moment. Do you see? But if we split it and say this is not, and this is not, and this is, and this is not, and that person is, but that's not, then every time we say it's not, we disagree with that part of us that is giving it meaning as well, because it's always going to see it as itself. It's always going to see it as the Father. This is what Jesus meant when he said, love the Father with all of your might and love your neighbors as you love yourself. All as one. Give it all one meaning to the best of our ability of love. And then everything will reflect back love to you. When things come back that show you that they're not loving, this is the key, as a reflection, regardless if it's a person, place, or thing, it is simply always because you have given it a meaning other than it is. It has nothing to do with the person, place, or thing, ever. And this is the trickiest thing. When you believe it does have something to do with that person, that place, or thing, that's called projection. You see, that means we have projected that meaning. We have seen them in that way. We have projected it onto them. It's coming back and it's hitting us because you cannot give meaning to anything in your life or any person in your life without giving the meaning back to yourself. This is what Jesus meant when he says, do not judge, therefore you will not be judged. He's talking about giving meaning that's not true. You are a creator. You are creating your life based on the meaning you give your life. The law of creation says you are one with your creations. Now, your free will says you have the ability to give it meaning of either negative or positive. But as you give it negative, that bigger part will not agree with you, and you're going to cause resistance against you and your God, you and your holy self. That resistance is negative emotion that you feel. It's your guidance system to let you know, I gave it the wrong meaning. I'm seeing this incorrectly, but that person deserves it. Why do I feel so bad? I'm seeing this incorrectly because I'm simply saying that that person or that thing or whatever it is you're looking at, that you're giving it a permanent meaning of bad or missing. They're not missing anything. And neither are you. No matter what you've gone through in your life, I want you to try this, because I've done this as well. Sit back, no matter what it is, and say, am I really missing anything? Did this experience take anything truly away from me of who I am? That's a powerful question. Am I still whole? Were they able to take away my holiness? And then you'll hear that inner being going, no, I've got it for you. You've lost nothing in this experience. You are still as God created you to be, which is the essence of all that Jesus talks about in the way of mastery. If you guys knew that right now, he said you would be instantly healed of everything. You are as God created you to be. So ask yourself, have you really lost anything? And then as you look out at those other people that we tend to see as victims that have created something in their life that doesn't seem to very fun, have they really lost anything? Has any of us really lost anything of who we are? Ask that question all the time. Because the more you realize the answer is no, you haven't lost anything except your vision. You're seeing it incorrectly if you're seeing it or feeling it in a negative way. But the holy self, that bigger part, your soul, is holding everything that you are. So therefore, you haven't lost anything. It's just holding it for you for when you're ready to receive it back. These two visions are the only thing that's causing this resistance in any aspect of your life. So like I said at the beginning, I recommend stop at least once a day and just let go of the past completely. And you will feel where your holy self is. And say, this is neutral. And what I'm experiencing right now about myself and everyone in my life and everything in my life and every place in my life is good, holy, and beautiful. And you will feel the resistance let go. And then every place you feel like that's not true, that's your study. That's the insistence, the belief that needs to be let go. If you just speak it, trust me, the mind will tell you exactly where the belief lies. Write it down, study it, recognize. Is it true? Is it something that God would believe? Is it eternally true? Is it permanent? Has it changed anything? And the more you recognize the answers to those questions, the easier you'll be able to let those go. And then your vision will start matching the vision of your Holy Spirit inside. I hope this helps. As always, it is my gift and my pleasure to give it to you in order to receive it back. Keep the comments coming and hit the like button if it's speaking to you, and subscribe. And as always, my unconditional love and appreciation to each one of you.